Greetings and salutations, everyone. First off, saying Merry Christmas if you celebrate. If not, well, happy December 25th. This is a quick little episode that I'm putting up for you because it's a character that I kind of forgot about, but it's very fun. And if you don't know by now, this is another Don't Quote Me episode. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The man you see behind me here, obviously, was played by the great late Michael Clarke Duncan. And he played a phenomenal role in this character. His name is John Coffey. To the best of my knowledge, like I said, don't quote me, John Coffey was a man who, if I remember correctly, I don't think he was a slave, but he was working. He was in a time where, discrimination, stuff like that was going on very bad. 'Cause I can't remember the date of which this movie took place. I want to say it was I want to say I want to say 40s. Let's go with the 40s because there are some older things in there like gun wise and car wise. So I want to say the 40s maybe. But long story short, John here is put into a prison where he meets Tom Hanks' character. And when he does, everyone expects him to be really aggressive, really mean, very profanic because he's a very tall black man. And right away when they meet him, when they see him, before they even talk to him, actually, there are some racist comments from other characters about him, oh, they heard his conviction and they really were just makes sense for his people, for a person like him, for a colored like him. And I was like, geez, that's kind of, I forgot, that's a thing that happened, in this timeline. But while John's there, they kind of notice that, he seems off. If I remember correctly, one of the other policemen there do believe that John is, mentally slow because he's too nice. He's too, open about his feelings. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to express himself. So, it doesn't make sense that his conviction is what it is when he is who he is. And while he's in this prison, he meets a gentleman whose name I cannot remember, but his best friend is a mouse. He talks to the mouse, he feeds the mouse, they go to bed together, this, that, whatever. Well, while John's there, he kind of meets I think it's the warden's son, or no, he's the warden's nephew, I believe. His name is Percy. Percy, absolute D-bag. Every time I see this actor, he's always playing a mean individual. But long story short, the reason why I'm bringing this up to you is because Percy kind of, I don't know how to explain it really. He is he's trying to be really mean to John, make John feel bad about himself, which sometimes I think he gets to him, but throughout the movie he really doesn't affect John the way he wants to, and that kind of makes him mad, he's trying to provoke him, he's trying to get him mad, trying to get him riled, and Tom Hanks' character kind of calls him out on his BS, hey, we're here to just make sure they don't leave, we don't treat them like that, what are you doing, you're going above and beyond to be mean. And he's just Percy's you don't touch me, you don't talk to me, my uncle's the warden, I'll get you fired. And Tom Hanks is I don't care. So there's a point where they throw him into a psych ward, and that's because John, I kind of forgot what John does, but I believe we find out that John's more than just a normal human. He essentially grabs Percy, and it looks like he sucks out almost dark sludge or bats or it's just weird. It's just the black mass that's coming out, but it's not solid. It almost looks like moths or flies. Long story short, he does this to Percy, and Percy turns around and goes to this one guy who is convicted. I forgot what he gets convicted for. I think it's theft or something. And this guy's constantly picking on him, constantly picking on Percy, calling him names, whatever, this, that, whatever. And he previously made Percy piss his pants because he grabbed him and pulled him in and was oh, I got you now, and started scaring him, which is pretty much everything Percy deserves because this convict is doing to Percy what Percy's doing to everyone else. Long story short, John does this to Percy. Percy goes up to this man and just proceeds to shoot him with his rifle, or not his rifle, his revolver, six times. I think he unloads the whole thing into him, and he just sits there clicking it like he's mindless. And that's when he gets tackled. That's when he gets thrown in that room and going crazy. And we do find out the man that Percy actually killed is the original man that killed the two girls that John here was convicted of killing and diddling. And the thing that's messed up about that is those were his sisters. Not John's, the convict. The convict did that to his own two little sisters, and John was trying to save them. Because we find out that John is an angel. he can actually bring people back from the dead. And we find that out when the one gentleman whose best friend, the one convict whose best friend is a mouse, gets stepped on by Percy. And John says, "Bring him here, boss man." Tom Hanks is like, "Okay, that's weird." And you see him breathe into his hands. A bright, shiny light occurs, and the mouse is back to normal. And we find out towards the end of the movie when John, after, you know, they give him a good experience of like what good food tastes like, what's a movie like, what's a friend like, all this. We get to the end where he's going to be put to death. And everyone in the jail doesn't want to see him die, but they have no proof. They have no way of like showing the people who he is or what he's like, you know, who he actually is. So before he leaves, you know, everyone, like, he tells everyone, "Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything." And this scene is kind of hard to watch now as an adult, but it's so well done. Seeing John put in the chair, the family calling him names, getting so happy that he's being put to death, but all of the policemen around him are sad. They're crying. They don't know what to, like, they don't know how to really, you know, express it, because the family thinks, I don't think anyone actually in the family notices that they're crying, but they're hiding it well. They're all crying because they don't want John to leave. And usually in the electric chair, they put the bag over their head. And so as they're going to put the bag over his head, John says, "Please, don't let me go in the dark. Like, I don't like the dark." So he takes it off. And everyone apologizes to him and says, like, "I'm sorry that you have to be put to death." And John replies, "Well, the world isn't ready for me yet." And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But yeah, that is John Coffey, to the best of my knowledge. Who knows? I might watch this shortly after this, if not later in the week, if not early in January. This is a really good movie. Really recommend it to you. It's easily in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. John Coffey is so good in this movie. Like, Michael Clarke Duncan did a phenomenal job the way he expresses, like, you know, all this stuff that happened to John. It's so well written, so good. Also didn't know it was a Stephen King movie till a year or two ago. But like I said, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it to the end of the video, hope you have a Merry Christmas. And like I said, if you don't celebrate it, I hope you have a great December 25th. So have a good one.